Well, I think we're here at an event today talking about digital transformation, and I think in the context of that, there's probably three key challenges that we see, and they're interrelated. The first of those, it is really hard for local government to find funding to invest in what is essentially almost an intangible set of initiatives that allow them to improve their organisation and the way in which they operate. So unless they're able to tell a really strong story about why they're doing that and how that will benefit their communities, the citizens who use their services, as well as their employees, it's really hard to get the funding to do it. And there's a lot of investment that's required to do that well. And linked to that is often for councils, these types of initiatives and programs of work are seen as a technology program. They're not seen as a program of business change that is led by the business, owned by the business, and needs the business to make it successful. So what we see is that it can be really hard for those program teams to get the right subject matter experts from the business properly engaged in the programs. And you have to have that for them to be successful. But that needs for the business to give up those resources and for them to be backfilled, and there's a cost with that. So that's really hard. And then I think the final piece is, I guess it's a hard change environment. There's potentially not necessarily all of the right skills. So there's a big piece of uplift that's needed. It can sometimes be hard for councils to access skills in the market to help them and drive these change and build new capabilities into their organisations. So, workforces in councils are very committed and passionate about community and about services, but sometimes they're not very skilled in changing the way they operate. And so that can be a challenge as well. So I think there's a few things. We have a national local government practice, and we're very fortunate, therefore, that we're able to work with councils all over the country. And so what we see are very similar problems and challenges playing out in actually different contexts, different legislative frameworks, different social and community kind of contexts. But we're able to bring insights and learnings and experiences from all over the country, and in fact internationally, from local governments and municipalities to help the sector to move forward. So that's probably point one. The second is that piece about capability and experience. And so, if I'm able to bring a team to walk into a council to help them solve a really complex problem, then what we're able to bring is speed as well as value. So we can work with a council to help them solve that problem or deliver that program or develop that strategy in a way that is working with them, helping them to learn and develop, but more importantly, it's helping them to get there quicker than if they just needed to sort of take those steps themselves. So I think it's those things. And then finally, again, by virtue of working across a lot of councils, we have built a lot of tools and assets, so things like frameworks, capability models, a starting point, a blueprint, if you like, for what good can look like. And that sometimes can be really helpful. It can cut through some of the noise about everything that feels really hard and everything that's broken and all the constraints that stand in the way. It can help to cut through that, to just go, right, well, could we get here? And if not here, could we get here? And then here's the toolkit and the accelerators to help you do that. So again, it's about that, valuable outcomes more quickly. I think the one that's closest to my heart at the moment is our work with Mid Coast Council in New South Wales. We've been working with Mid Coast for a number of years now, so since I think about August 2020, and we've been working with the council to help them really build their plan for business transformation, so starting with ICT strategy and information management frameworks. We've helped them build what the business case is for that program. So we've helped them tell that story to their executive, to their employees, and most importantly to their councillors, to help get the buy-in for the change that they need to make and the investment that they need to make in that. And we are now working with Midcoast as their delivery partner as they execute on their business transformation program. And that is about technology, but it's also about customer experience. It's about a new operating model and changed ways of working. It's about data and getting better information for decision making. So I feel like that for us, and we're just in the early stages of a 3-year relationship around being their delivery partner. And so I know, because we did the business case, that the benefits for council and for the Midcoast community are really, really significant. So it's exciting to be part of that and with council on that journey. To be honest, it's the same every year, and it is the energy that the sector representatives bring into the room and their willingness to learn from each other, to share openly, to acknowledge the very real constraints within which they're operating, but still to always be looking for the way forward and the way through. I think there's a lot of passion and a lot of persistence and courage that this sector shows. And so I always learn a lot, and I always really enjoy being exposed to just the energy of these events. Yeah, well, I've actually partnered with Public Sector Network for a very long time before I was even with KPMG, and so I really appreciate the way in which you connect and bring the public sector together. I think what you find in these events is that it really is about learning and sharing and collaborating. There's no selling here. It feels like a safe space for delegates to be and to share and to be open, and it feels like a great place for sponsors like ourselves to come and learn and engage and connect. And I think PSN does a really good job of theming these events, finding good speakers, and also bringing a good audience together. So yeah, it's definitely been a beneficial partnership.